Hello everyone and welcome to my forever world, where we have just completed our very first village transformation in a lovely spruce taiga biome. On my map mod here, we have spawn listed on this little beachy area, and we made our way over to where we have transformed this spruce village over time. And I figured since we have it fully completed, it would be kind of fun to just give you a little walkthrough tour of everything that we've built up in this little village. The first thing that we made in this village was our little starter house, and I really liked how this turned out. I'd never made one where an entrance kind of has a little wind up stairway to get to where our bedroom is, our balcony, our little upstairs room, but I did it that way and I thought it looked really cute. So we've got our bed here, we've got books, we've got a little balcony so we can look out over onto the little spruce taiga forest. And then upstairs we just got a little extra room for storage. Nothing too crazy here. I did say that if I needed to get this wall removed so we could add some extra barrels for storage like we have here, that we could have done that. But as far as this level of the house, that is all that there is. And then underneath is where we've had our storage, all of the chests, and this is usually where I end up sleeping, and all of our just crafting stuff. So that is our first build of our little spruce forest, our little spruce village, and I thought this was a very cute little house. Going into free cam, this is kind of what it looks like a little bit further away. Don't mind our little ghast friend that I will get to eventually, but I really liked this spruce starter house, and it was definitely a style I hadn't tried before that turned out really well. The next thing that we built up this little stairway was our enchanting cottage, where we have our level 30 enchanting table, and we also had it connected up to a skeleton XP farm that was below so that we could get enough levels to use all of our lapis and just get all of our gear enchanted. We've got lots of chiseled bookshelves, so if we ever just were using the enchanting table and re-rolling for different things, we could just place the extra books here. We've got a little sneaky bed around the corner in case we need to sleep, which I guess we do right now. Now we do have our skeleton XP farm decorated now, and I did this on a long play, so it wasn't an official video episode, but we have a sweet berry farm that we can just bone meal and collect up a bunch of the glow berries. Same with the glow lichen. We've got our tinted glass showing off the skeleton XP farm, the area where we can just slice and dice. And then I decided to kind of just create some open walls so we can see into the cave, and I really like how you can just see the lava and different things in here, and it kind of just makes this room look even bigger than it is just because we can see even further into the caves. And we also did have a little storage area, crafting area, and I even have an armor stand where we can put some of the really good armor that we get from all of these skeleton drops. But we just got cobbled deep slate in the chests, and I did start to organize by the arrows, and I have like space for bone meal, for bone blocks, and all of that. But I really think this is such a cute little skeleton XP farm. I loved this so much. Our next build was our mining outpost, and there used to be a build right here. One of the original houses of the village stood right here, and initially I just kind of dug down into the floor of that, but we've since then transformed it into a genuine, authentic mining outpost, and I think this is really cute. We've got our little way to get down into the mines. We can do the stairway or the minecart rails, either way we want to, but we've just got chests, we've got minecart track, and just ores around. On the inside, we have Todd the Fox kind of watching over the smeltery part of things with our lava, blast furnaces, the smithing table. Around this side, we have even more minecarts, chests, furnaces, access to more of the smelting area, more furnaces, all of that. And I thought this was a really cute mining outpost so that we can get down to deep slate layer. We also made ourselves this build right here, which serves two purposes. One is where I breed up my villagers and just have extra villagers on hand, and this is their little sleeping quarters. Upstairs though, I wanted this to be kind of a little museum. So this is what our map looked like early on of our world. We've got our first tools of the world, so the very first wooden axe, wooden pickaxe, stone pickaxe. This was our first set of diamond armor that we've had in this world, and my first set of iron. And I also did just make a little segment to just kind of show off all the things you can specifically find in a Spruce Village. And I think this turned out really cute, and it does do a really good job of showcasing exactly the items you typically find in a Spruce Village. But I think my favorite part is the fact that I decided to add an aquarium into the ceiling and then just showcase all the little salmon that you usually find inside the river. So I did have to kind of climb on the roof and then go up on it, break it open to add these little guys. But I think this is a really fun addition to the ceiling and our little Spruce Village museum. Now, across from our little villager house slash museum, we have this build right here, which I turned into a house for our librarians. And I just have two little friends in here. We've got our mending friend for one that we cured, and they have cursive binding, and they give us name tags and glass. And then over here, we've got our little Fortune 3 friend that also has Flame, Bane of Arthropods 3, Depth Strider, and they also give us name tags. And then we just had extra space for storage, extra books that can be stored in the chiseled bookshelves, and then up here was even more storage and a little bedroom spot in case I needed to sleep. But this was our villagers' little house for our librarian friends. The next thing that we worked on is up this little pathway, and this was our animal barn and our silo, and I think this was one of the prettiest little silos with the fields kind of rolling off the edges here. I think this turned out so good. We also made a chicken coop because there are a lot of foxes that initially I had all of my chickens just free range chickens roaming about inside this little area, but they then got attacked by a bunch of foxes. So I had to move all of them, but we've got our lovely little animal barn in here, and I think this turned out really good. We just got rafters that we can go and sleep up here, lots of hay bales, storage, all of that, and we've just got more room for even more of the animals to... Oh. Where did all of the animals go? Me just realizing that all of the llamas and sheep and cows that were in here are suddenly gone, and I think that was a glitch. I updated my world from 121.4 to 121.6, and I think my animals got glitched out, which is a bummer, but there were cows and sheep and llamas in here. I promise you that. But that is kind of funny that they're just not there anymore. A little bit awkward, but I'll move on to showing you our silo. We have a mossy roof, which I think is really fun, but I decided to make this silo kind of water powered, which was kind of a fun little take on it. And then there's just lots of storage room down here. We can kind of climb up here where we've got the spore blossom, and you can see this is kind of like the drive shaft where the water is moving, which then causes the blades of the windmill to spin. And yeah, we've just got a little tiny access to come out here and just kind of look out over everything, and I think this is a really pretty view of this area too. After we made the animal barn and the silo, we did make the chicken coop, and we also made this little nether cottage here, and I decided to put our nether portal in here. Initially, our nether portal was just sitting out on the open ground, and we then changed and moved it onto the second level inside the little cottage here. But I really liked how I have the contrasting crimson and warped. I think that's super fun. And then we have our little cleric villager friend here trading things. We've got a little chest with all of the nether related items. We've got a little nether wart farm. And then up here is where we have access to the nether portal. We've got our golden crown to keep the piglins from getting mad at us. And then we've just got some extra storage for things as well. The next thing that we made was this cozy little sweetberry farm. And this is our wild fox sanctuary, where we just got tons of sweet berries. We've got some lanterns, lots of bone mealed ground, the foxes being able to run around on the stones, and around this back little path here, there is a cute little kind of lean-to shelter for them if it's ever raining and they want to escape the rain or any of the bad weather or get out from the sun. but I thought this was a really cute little fox sanctuary for them. And then with our little sweetberry farm, we did employ a butcher villager because when they're unlocked at master, they will trade sweetberries. And then we have some little foxes in here that are just snipping and harvesting all of the berries, and they're doing a very good job of that because I'm kind of overflowing with sweet berries, and I never imagined me to ever have such a problem. But all of these chests have the sweet berries that we then can trade, get XP and more emeralds, and I think this is pretty cool. I've never made a sweet berry farm, and I think this turned out really good, and it's a perfect farm for a little taiga village as well. The next thing that we made was our little fishing harbor here with all of the boats. We've got all of the market stalls selling and exporting all of the items that we find in our little Spruce Village, and we also created this little fishing hut over here. But I really think adding just this little dockside area added so much to our little Spruce Village. And then we do have a little fisherman friend up inside of here, and they are just kind of manning this. They do end up getting stuck up in the rafters a lot because of this glowberry, but yeah, we just got a little villager in here, and they can just come out here, kind of look over the waterway, or just kind of be hanging out, putting books and items inside the chest. But we've got our really nice fishing rod in here for whenever we feel like doing some fishing. After we made our little fishing dock, I decided that I wanted to go on an adventure and find an ancient city, and in order to get enough wool, we decided to make an automatic sheep farm. And one fun feature that I added here is a Jeb sheep with the special name tag, so we just have a rainbow color changing sheep on display. But then on the inside here, we've just got all of the redstone hooked up to our little sheeps getting sheared, and then all of the wool comes into different hoppers that meets right here, and it's a pretty good working wool farm. We also have our little parrot friend Della in here, keeping an eye on all the little sheep and keeping them company. But it's just a small little space for an auto sheep farm. We then went into the ancient city with all of the wool, and we did find enough Swift Sneak 2 books to make a Swift Sneak 3 book, so we put that on our pants. And now whenever we need additional wool, we can always come here, and this was a great addition to this area. We then created this little pumpkin patch, and this was the original one that came with the village. I didn't touch this one at all, so this one is exactly what it looked like when this original village was here before I replaced all of the houses with my custom ones. But we did make this little pumpkin patch here because I thought it would kind of be cute to have one that looked more organic, besides one that's kind of already set up in some cobblestone and mossy cobble. But then we've got our main attraction to this little area, which is the auto pumpkin farm. Since this is a Spruce Village, I figured a auto pumpkin farm would be perfect for this one. And then all of the hoppers come down right here, and we've got all of our pumpkins. Then we also are able to just come up here and actually see all the redstone and see the farm at work. But it's just a small little place. But what we can do is take all of these pumpkins, and we later on had a little villager farmer guy in there that we can trade the pumpkins to. But once we had our little pumpkin farm made, we also made our very first ever redstone auto wood farm, and it turned out pretty good, I would say. But we do have to be a little bit careful right now because I'm currently trying to get some of these guys out. Oh, I'm about to die. I took off my armor. All right, here's some temporary armor. I am trying to get these guys to at some point lose their crossbows so that they can be kind of the cabin crew manning this ship, but obviously I need to be a little bit more careful. But going out into freecam, it's much safer, so we can actually see our little auto wood farm and how I decorated it on the exterior. And I think this is super cute. I love the little collections of logs just kind of wrapped up with some of the rails and things. And then I put a sapling of each type next to the log that was on display. And once I get more of my hunger up, we'll actually try to go out and go into the little auto wood farm, a little house, if I can make it without getting attacked more. Don't hurt me. Okay, cool. we got that closed. But this is the interior. We've got all of the pale oak, we've got our spruce, our oak, and I just have the sapling above the barrel of what wood type is in here. And then I do have some space for some additional saplings I haven't found yet. Upstairs, we just got more additional storage, barrels, chests, some little ferns, and pots of different saplings on display. And then this chest right here is what comes up from the auto wood farm itself. And then I can just take any of the saplings, we can take the logs, the sticks, and then we can just filter them according to where they're supposed to end up. And below our little auto wood farm, this is the redstone contraption that actually ends up exploding all of the wood blocks. And this is all of the redstone, and we have our little TNT duper up here, and it actually works really well. So I was very proud of this first attempt at an auto wood farm. Now, after we had made the wood farm and the pumpkin farm, we then made this cute little potato farm that I was mentioning earlier. And we have a master farmer in here that trades with this villager, and then all the potatoes get harvested and thrown into this little hopper minecart here. But we've got our little master farmer who will trade us pumpkins for an emerald, so we can take the pumpkins and the potatoes, bring those to the market. We can trade with this guy the potatoes, the pumpkins, and even get golden carrots. But this is a very simple build. We've just got some barrels around the edges, a little place to sleep. We've got a few lanterns hanging, but I wanted to keep it very open concept and keep it very open to air out, because I have heard that potatoes can kind of create some like toxic some smells and things. So we're just keeping it very open and airy, and we've got some ventilation here so that they can just have some wind access. But we've got little potato plants growing in the planter boxes and just outside the front, and I think this is really cute. Besides the potato farm, we also added these boats into the harbor, which it really added so much to our area. We just added 3 boats, and just having some boats coming in and leaving made this place come to life so much more. And I'd never made a ship before, but I was really proud of how this one turned out. And then we just got a little baby boat and a medium-sized boat as well. From there, I decided to finally make a little house for all of the dogs that we've collected up, and I think this turned out really cute from the outside. On the inside, I just have all of the little wolves, our little dogs, all named, their collar and their little bed all match. And then there's just barrels, some potted plants and lanterns down here. And upstairs, we've got even more of our dog friends. We've got Ghost, we've got Copper the hound dog, we've got River, and we've got Rusty. And then they just have some little barrels for their bones and their own little storage up here as well. But I thought this was a very cozy build for all of our little dog friends. And coming up this way, we've got our wolf sanctuary. Since we have a place for the dogs, I wanted a place for our wild wolfy friends, and so there's just kind of a few of them hiding in between all of the trees. I even made a little den for them to hide away inside of, but there's just lots of trees, overgrown, little piles of rocks with lanterns. But these guys can just kind of hang out. It's very overgrown, so they can feel kind of all cozy and nestled in here. But I really liked how this turned out, and in freecam you can kind of see the size of it. I did want it to match the same kind of vibe that we have for the fox sanctuary. I think they look really good, kind of having a similar style to them. And after we had built the dog house and the wolf sanctuary, I decided to finally stop procrastinating and go into the Nether to find this guy in the form of a dried ghast, and we got them all grown up, and this is going to be the ghast that hangs out in the Spruce Village. And now that our ghast has a nice little village to watch over, I am going to give them a name, and we're also going to change the color of their harness. Now, you guys gave me a lot of good name suggestions to name our little ghast friend here, but the name that I'm gonna go with is gonna be Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, since they did have a little tavern that Gaston liked to hang out with in more of a pine tree, spruce, taiga type village. So because we are naming our little friend Gaston, and Gaston wore a red shirt, our harness is now going to be red. Now we just got to bring our little friend back down here. Let me just get a lead back on them, like so. and stick their new harness on them. And there we go. We've got Gaston, and the name tag should show up. So now we have Gaston with the name tag and their red harness looking over our little Spruce Village. And now that our little ghast friend has their name tag on and their new little harness color picked, that is going to do it for the full tour of our transformed Spruce Village. And we made this into the coziest Spruce Village. It is hard to imagine what it looked like before compared to now, but I love a good village transformation. And this was a pretty good first transformation, but it is time to move on to the next one. So until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.